Secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids.
BandClap Nation mixtape.
Let's go. Ain't no question who shut it down when BandClap in the town. Hate these rappers like I'm a savage, steady packing them pounds. Haters fear the ground rumble when I'm running around. That 4-5 flow, hollow rounds gunning them down. Killing these chump clowns, step and be the first to get buried. Bringing lights up when I hit the mic like roaches, they scary. Too high to see competition, so my vision is blurry. Got God on my side, but that should be the least of your worries. Back in high school, I was a...
Yo, what is poppin'? It's the top of the week, so you already know what time it is. It's your boy, Mr.BandClap, at it again with another on point Orisha Tarot forecast spread. And this is going to be for the week of Monday, January the 27th through Sunday, February the 2nd of 2025. So with this one, I got a lot to talk about, as you can see with the title and also with the thumbnail. If you, whoever is watching this, if you needed some type of confirmation to let you know that you made it into the next cycle, let this video, let this testimony that I've went through for the past 7 years, let this be a testimony for you to stay motivated, to keep going. And most of all, when you're at the bottom, there's no way that you can go but up. So even though this is going to be a weekly forecast, there's going to be a few things that I want to cover in this particular video. A lot of it is going to be based on where I left off in the last Shadow Work Ain't Pretty, because in that particular podcast, and I think I came out with that sometime in 2023, I didn't realize that even during that time, it was going to put me through a whole nother phase of this particular process that I had to go through. Now, a lot of you all know the first half, because the first half of this was pretty much the reason why my presence on YouTube ended up being so vast after 2020. Around this time, it was 2019 still, and I remember there was a wolf moon during that time. I remember I ended up going back to Memphis, and while I was in Memphis, that's when I made up in my mind that I was going to pretty much take my life back. During that time, I was going from place to place, couch to couch, trying to go to school and trying to have a place to stay and be able to go through all of those different hardships and stuff like that. It put me in a lot of predicaments to where I'm just down and out. So now that I got this vehicle, and soon I'm going to have this RV in 2020, I just said, F it. When I go back to Florida in 2020, this is where I'm going to start this journey of me really finding myself. So that was the goal. Long story short, we all know what happened in 2020. COVID ended up happening. Everything ended up getting shut down, which means that the jobs that I was depending on so I can pay for this RV that I was supposed to get, they all ended up crashing down, falling through. It put me in a situation to where it just felt like everything that I was striving for, all the things that I thought that I was going to be doing during that time, was just snatched from under me. And, it wasn't nothing that I did wrong or anything like that. This was a worldwide type of event. A lot of people lost things. A lot of people had different issues and went through different hardships and stuff like that during that time. So needless to say, for like 3 years, I had to just turn my truck into an RV. Shoot, I put a bed in the back, had me a gym membership so I can always stay clean. I even had to do some things that I never thought that I would ever be doing, like being a bouncer at a club downtown. So one of the dreams that I had as far as having an RV, I had to put that on the back burner. But during that time that I was in my truck, I did some amazing things. I started to take those things that I was talking about in my podcast, and I started to create these consultations that I used to do. And then those consultations turned into readings. Then, since I had more time now to do more things for my brand, that led to me doing a lot more live streams, having time to make more videos and make more podcasts, which led to people asking me to create a Patreon. So I ended up creating a Patreon. Then, not too long after that, I ended up coming out with the shadow work class, ended up creating my website, ended up expanding the type of readings that I did. And on top of all of that, in 2022, I embarked on my greatest creation to date, which is the animated series that I'm still working on called Eshu's World. All of this stuff happened while I'm in my truck, perceivably homeless, even though I didn't really call it homeless because I did have a roof over my head. But yeah, a lot of those things that y'all love me for was everything that I created while I was in that situation. So then my truck breaks down. My dad ends up getting really sick, having to do this surgery that he ended up doing in 2023, which led to me going through another toxic cycle that led to me getting these rental cars and having to use these different apps and stuff like that to make money. And I remember telling y'all how a couple weeks ago that cycle even came to a close. So these past couple weeks I've been working. I've been doing a lot of work. I've had a lot of miraculous situations that came up, but there's still this wave of uncertainty when it comes to what's coming ahead, and will I be able to handle those things that's about to come ahead, because of a comfort that I used to have, which was having a car, even though it cost me a lot because it was a rental car. So now it's like a retraining of my mind that I'm still going to be able to handle what needs to be handled, even though I may not have that comforting thing that hurt me, which was the reason why that cycle had to end. But deep down in my mind, I still know that the things that I was working on, all of those things that I built in those little pockets of freedom that I was able to create for myself, even though those little pockets of freedom, it looked a certain way on the outside that wasn't necessarily appealing. But I know with the right kind of work, with the right kind of determination, with the right kind of effort, if I can fully get these things off the ground, it's going to be way more profitable than anything that I'm doing over here on this side of me struggling and trying to make it, grinding out here acting like an NPC, when I know that there's so much more to me. And this is something that I've always said about my situation, and this is also something that other people have said about that. And I remember touching on this in 2022 when I did the 7-part series about the metaphysics of manifestation. I said sometimes when it comes to certain things that you want to accomplish, you have to make sure that the ship that you create for yourself, or the vehicle that you choose to work to obtain, is going to be the type of vehicle for what you're trying to accomplish. So for me, a lot of the things that I want to be able to accomplish, and I'm trying to keep a relatively low overhead, and I want to be able to travel to certain places that have high vibrations, even though these may be some places that I may not be able to afford it necessarily financially to live there. Since I know that I have a soul that is very futuristic, in order for me to thrive, I need to recreate a world that people with souls like me would be able to thrive. But in order for you to be able to have that type of mission, you have to have a recreational vehicle in order to do that. And the reason why something like this, it seems very outlandish for someone in their 20s or even someone in their early 30s to even desire to have a recreational vehicle, or to even have that type of mindset. Because for a lot of us, you know, we've been taught that in order for you to know what you want, you have to live a huge portion of your life based on everything that you don't want, everything that you don't like, all the boundaries that you wish that you could have set. So that way, in the last few parts of your life, that's what you use to recreate a small heaven for yourself before you die. Me, I never felt like, I never agreed with that. That's not something that I base my life on, even though it's something that I always saw, even with my own family. How I had some people in my family who they had certain opportunities to do great things in their life at a certain time, at a certain age. But society's pressures was pressuring them that they need to have a family, that they need to get married, that they need to do this, that they need to do that. And they listened to that instead of what their soul wanted to do. So even though they love their children deep down, it's just that there's this overlooming feel of some type of dream being too late to obtain because they had children at the wrong time. So I know for some of y'all, this is what the cycle that we're leaving out of right now, this is what that entails. It feels like a lot of us were headed to a certain high plateau. We were headed to a certain direction, and then it just seems like there was a detour. And for some of us, it was harder for some of us to hold on to those dreams that we had, that we were hoping to accomplish, but it just seems like things got derailed. So what I want y'all to be able to remember during that time was that, yeah, we went through a lot of shadow work situations that wasn't pretty, you know, because a lot of us was forced to do that shadow work because of the lockdowns. You know, where else was you going to go? What else was you going to do but just sit there with yourself and do this shadow work? But if you can remember, a lot of the works that we did in these last 3 years was some very transformative and very creative works. Definitely put in the comments how many of you all within these last 5 years, I say within like these last 5 years, how many of you all have been recording your dreams and have had dreams of you all either in school, you're in class, or you're graduating from school, or you're graduating, you know, how many of you all have had those dreams? Because I've had all of those during this time. Some of us graduated astrally and decided that we wanted to get a master's degree. Some of us got the master's degree and we decided that we wanted to stay and get the doctorate. And the reason why a lot of us don't notice is because when you go to sleep after you've been stressed out, you haven't done anything spiritually to unwind and to relax your mind and stuff like that, it's hard for you to dream. And even if you do dream, it's hard for you to be able to recall and recollect what you dreamed about. I'm just glad that I had certain small pockets during those years to where I was able to have those dreams to let me know what's going on. Now, speaking of dreams, because I really want to get into this main dream sequence that I've had, and it started a couple months ago, and this is really what's going to preface what this reading starting this week is going to be entailing. So since 2023, I've been having these dreams about me graduating, going to these higher levels and stuff like that. Around November of 2024, I had this dream, and I guess what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to draw it. I'm going to try to draw it or something so I could try to give y'all some type of visual representation of what I'm saying. So in this particular dream, it's like a overhead view of me traveling in this ship. So the best way to explain it, it looked like it looked like I was looking at something through the lens of a microscope. It was darkness all around. It looked like it was this one cell or planetary body that I was leaving from. And this planetary body that I was leaving from was imploding on itself. Literally, that's what it looked like. It was imploding on itself. Now, up above and diagonal of that was this bigger planetary body that looked like some type of cell. It looked like a cell under a microscope, but it was a planetary body. Now, this planetary body, it looked a lot smaller than the planetary body that I was leaving from, but the top part of this planetary body had such a bright purple and gold light. It shines so bright that you can see it from space. Now, there was these two diagonal lines going from that particular planetary body to the one that was imploding. And these two diagonal lines, it's like they formed a red road, because I remember the two diagonal lines were in red. It had a red glow to it. So in this dream, you see this bright light in this ship that looks like a light bulb seemingly going upward on this red beam of light that looks like a road from a imploding planetary body to a smaller planetary body up top that's filled with some type of purple and gold light. So when I first had this dream, you know, I thought this was talking about the abductions and stuff like that, because during this time there was a lot of phenomena going on in the sky, a lot of Project Blue Beam type of things, a lot of government aircraft that has already been debunked, that this isn't a unidentified aircraft as far as it being foreign to this planet. This is something that the government has always had. We're just now paying attention to it. But I started to notice as the days went by of me having this particular dream, I just started to notice certain cycles, certain things that I'm going through in my life, seeming like these cycles were just ending overnight. I had this van that I called myself trying to finance from this shady buy here, pay here company. And the van ended up breaking down after a couple days. So I had to give that back. Then everything with the rental car ended up falling through. It just seems like cycle after cycle was just ending. Certain friendships, certain people leaving my life, certain things that I never thought would end are ending. So as these things are ending in this physical world. I'm praying, asking my spirit team to come through and let me know what's going on, because I'm just distraught at this time. Like, I don't know what's going on. It just seems like everything that I'm trying to do is just crashing and burning. So last week I ended up having a confirmation dream. So in this particular confirmation dream, it confirmed that the previous dream was me transferring from one dimension to a higher dimension. And in this dream, I finally made it. Now, the weird part of this particular dream is that I didn't land on the top of the planet like how everybody else did. I plugged into the side of the planet, because remember, I said that my ship was in the shape of a light bulb. So you know how the light bulb screws into the socket? That's how I did with my ship. It's weird. Like, I screwed the ship into the side of the planet. And I feel like there's some type of symbolism with that as well, because with me doing this, I kind of had a leverage, because I was able to come onto the planet without necessarily being noticed, without being seen, because the side of the planet that I plugged into was a side that was kind of uninhabitable yet. So I kind of had free reign to do anything I wanted to do in that particular area. Now, one thing I noticed right off the bat when I got off this ship was that the atmosphere in this particular planet felt a whole lot better. The air felt cleaner, the sky felt even more clear, just everything around me was just so beautiful, to the point where I really didn't even want to go into town like that. I started to notice that anything in my mind that I wanted to create, all I had to do was just think about it and focus on it long enough for like a few seconds, and it'll just appear. So I took advantage of me being in a part of this planet that wasn't necessarily inhabitable yet, because with my own mind, I was able to create me a nice little home base oasis. I had me a nice little home base, and me being in this particular area, it really had me thinking like, dang, and this ain't even the fullest extent of this particular power that I have. Why is it that in this particular dimension, I only got to use a third of the power that the last dimension that I was in, I had to use 210% only to yield like a 10-15% profit when it came to the dreams and goals that I wanted to accomplish in my life. And what I figured out was the planet that I came from, the planetary body that I came from, the reason why it blew up was because the nucleus of that particular planetary body, the purple and the gold that it was hiding, started to be so much and so heavy that the whole system started to implode on itself. And what I started to realize was that the reason why so many souls were trapped on that planet was because the game was so attractive. It's like the whole planet represented a casino. And it's like, yeah, the game seems very attractive until you find out that the game that you've been spending your whole life to try to win, you realize that this game was rigged for you to lose the whole time. It was never meant for you to win anything. It was only meant for you to use your solar essence and give it to this machine, which pays you back in a feeling or lack thereof, because it's a gamble, but it's a bad gamble. And to do what I did, even though it's a very, very tedious, it's a very hard process, but what we've done has taken other people many, many lifetimes to do. So in my mind, I'm like, the people here must be extremely dope, because where I come from, there was a lot of people on that planet that had souls. They just didn't know that the game was rigged and they never would win. So I decide that I'm gonna go ahead and go into town, because surely the people on this particular planet are gonna be amazing, because how I was able to produce all of this stuff in such little time, because to manifest on this particular planet, there's no energetic interference like it was in the last planet. This should be a happy planet. This should be a happy place. Boy, was I wrong. I ended up going into town and it seemed like everybody was mad. It seemed like everybody is stressed out. It seemed like everybody is dissatisfied. I saw a lot of regret. I saw a lot of resentment in a lot of these people. But the city looked like the Jetsons. The city looked extremely futuristic. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say that I saw flying cars and stuff like that. But what I remember, this city was very futuristic. And it just seems like everybody was rich. They all had the designer clothes. They all had the hottest car. They all had the nicest items and stuff like that. But unlike the people in the planet that I came from that had a rich spirit, but they were poor on the outside because the game was rigged, it seemed like the people in this particular planet, in this particular cycle that we're coming in, it seems like the people here, they got everything that they wanted, but since they were lied to about how they could have used their own energy, like how I got what I got, they all ended up having to do different things to get where they're at, and it caused them to lose their soul. And I'm walking down the street, I'm all happy, I'm all jolly and all of this stuff, and it started to seem like the people that I was bumping into was starting to look at me kind of weird, like, why is this nigga so happy? Why is he jolly? What's wrong with him? Because it really seemed like everybody that I was passing, and it was weird because I would pass by somebody and they would look really, really nice, but it's like I couldn't necessarily see their face because they had these holographic images circling them. The best way I can explain it is in those cartoons, when somebody in the cartoon is either confused or they're in a daze or something like that. So they'll be sitting in a spot, circling in a circular motion, or they'll be standing up and they'll be kind of woozy, and they'll have those little birds flying around their head in a holographic type of way to kind of show that they're dazed and confused. So that's exactly how they was looking in this particular world. They couldn't see the world around them, like they couldn't see the potential that was blatantly around them, because in this particular world, their government didn't necessarily rig the game. Everybody has an equal opportunity to manifest the life that they desire. It's just that in this particular planet, their government just lied to them when it came to how to manifest it. So the government would have these people participating in these massive type of rituals, these massive type of things, and these people, they don't know that when they complete this, it's not going to do what they think it's going to do. It's actually going to end up usurping their soul energy from them. And the more you're participating in this stuff, the weaker your connection to your soul is going to get. And in exchange for these things, you get all the possessions that you desire in this world. But the biggest goal for a lot of us is that, we want to get these things so that we can live in harmony with our inner child, which means that we still have to have that connection to our soul. And that's what's in this dimension, these people traded, and they were probably taught that, you can't be one with your soul and have the material things that you desire, So pretty much I was looking like an anomaly. I didn't realize that the more I stayed walking around people with the type of freeness that I had, because when you saw me, you didn't see no holographic images representing all of the things that I had to do to sacrifice to get to where I'm at, but it hurt my soul. I didn't have those things circling around me, so when you saw me for me. And I didn't realize just that alone made me a target in that particular world. So when I woke up into the real world, it's funny because it just seemed like everything that I tried to get into, I kept getting these notifications about verifying your identity. Like these past few days, I've been having to log into all of my stuff, certain stuff I'm still trying to get into that I haven't been able to get into because I haven't been able to verify my identity on everything. So y'all in the chat, let me know if this has been happening to y'all. It just seemed like you woke up in the morning and everything has been logged out, or it's saying that you have until this particular time to update your identity. There was an e-bike that I was trying to get, and I hooked up my account. I went to this place and they couldn't give me the loan because I couldn't answer the identity questions because none of those questions applied to me. So I'm telling them, I'm like, don't none of this stuff apply to me, and I ended up not being able to get it because of the identification verification. Another major thing that I started to notice when I woke up into this particular reality is that the arguments when it comes to people are starting to change. See, the dimension that I came from, the consciousness was pretty much talking about how the game is rigged, how it's inevitable. You might as well not even participate in this game because the game is rigged. But now that I'm in this other dimension, the conversations and the fight is starting to be different, because in this new cycle, in this new dimension, because I know I'm not the only person that's in this new dimension, that's under the sound of my voice. I know some of y'all out there are here with me as well. This new dimension, the fight is going to be things being manifested, different things being manifested, certain things that you all probably wanted manifested or whatever. And then now that we're in this new energy, you picked up on it and you're starting to see, a lot of y'all are starting to see certain changes that's going on, but these changes are stuff that you were lied to that it could never happen because the game was rigged. You're going to start seeing certain things being manifested in your life that you were told were impossible. So now the saying is, we've all been lied to. We've all been lied to. The dimension where I'm at, they're about to go through a rebellion as well, because a lot of them just seeing me walk down the street with a certain energy that they were told that they had to do all of these things to torment their soul in order to obtain it, just for them to realize that the energy that they needed to manifest whatever it was that they needed to manifest, they already had it inside of them to manifest it. You just needed to clear your mind and focus. That's it. You don't need no rituals. You don't need no deities. You don't need all of these religions, all of this stuff that you were probably taught about how to manifest. All you need to do is to clear your mind and have a laser sharp focus on what it is that you want to manifest in this new cycle. That's all you need to do. The last thing that I needed to do, that I was instructed to do after that dream was over, because the me in that dimension had to connect with the me in this dimension. So in order for me to keep the signal, I had to keep vibrating high. I had to keep vibrating high throughout these next few days so that the signal can come through. So in my life, that signal manifested itself into signs, and these signs represented me receiving different things that I've been trying to manifest, or that I've been trying to get back into realignment with for years. But because of the WUVIT, because of the things that happened in 2020, it messed a lot of those things up, or so I thought. So as you can see, the greatest thing that I ended up receiving during that time, I mean, you see it in the thumbnail. Yep, this has been a long time coming. I was kind of reluctant on sharing this right now because this is going to be a project that I'm going to be working on for this year, but I feel like I need to talk about it because I know a lot of people out there are discouraged. Y'all may have different things that y'all thought that y'all was going to be able to accomplish, but then the things that happened in 2020 messed y'all up too. But I just wanted to show y'all this as a testimony to let y'all know that it's not over. Keep pushing, stay focused, stay motivated. It's not that your dream was false. It's not that your goals was false. It's just that the way that you was taught to achieve it wasn't right. The way that you was taught that you was going to obtain it wasn't right. And this next cycle that you're going into is going to show you that. It's going to show you how certain things had to be transformed and it had to be changed, because the game that you was playing, you were never going to win. It was rigged from the start. And some of y'all found out the right way, and now you're going to be manifesting like crazy. So then the fight is going to be showing that we were all lied to. You know, we were lied to. That's the reason why we were in a certain situation in the last cycle. It wasn't because we were inadequate. It wasn't because we were liars or anything like that. So that's the other thing that this next cycle is going to show you. Now, with this particular vehicle, I'll be able to fully recreate the world that I was always trying to recreate since 2020. Me getting this RV off the ground and getting it fixed up and stuff like that, I'll be of a lot more service to you all. I'll be able to put out way more content because I'll be able to lock in, and because I'm in a vehicle that represents something that I've always wanted to be in, the substance and the effort that I'll be able to put in that content is going to be higher. It's going to be the rebrand of all rebrands. But I'm reaching out to you all because just like how I couldn't do the stuff I did in the last cycle without y'all, I can't do the things that I want to be able to accomplish in this cycle without y'all, because Soul Family is going to be very, very, very important right now. So as y'all always know, I always put my donation links in the bio of my videos, in the description of my videos on YouTube. And you also know that I give readings, just like the ones that you see on my channel on Mondays. You can check out the readings that I provide, and also my animated series, Eshu's World, on my website, www.bandclaptv.com. You can click on the services tab, and when you click on that tab, you'll see all of the services that I provide. I have these on point Orisha Tarot card readings on there. I give natal chart consultations, and as I always say, the Everything is Everything reading is my bestseller. It's by far my bestseller because I take everything that I provide and I put it into one reading, and those readings are extremely powerful. So I have different things that I provide as well, different services and stuff like that. And those, I also have some newer services that I want to provide. But in order for me to do those things and to expand, I need to fully make my transition. So that's why I had to spend a lot of time and really let y'all know what this next cycle is really going to entail. It's going to be a lot of things going on internally for a lot of us, even though externally, things may still look unsure. Things may still look uncertain because I may have something that in the future would cause me a great joy and things like that. But as of right now, I still got bills looming over my head, still got rent over here that's due, gotta insure it, gotta register it, gotta make it legal. It's still a lot that I have to do to close out this last cycle, this previous cycle, in order for me to fully step into my new cycle. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you all that's going through that as well. So I definitely wanted this to be a motivation and a message for you all as well. So let's get on with that message and let's get to this reading. So as you always know, these 7 rows of cards that you see are for each day from Monday through Sunday. The 2 cards that you see that is from the Santissima Muerte deck, these are the overall messages for this week. And as I always say, you may or may not go the particular things that I express on these cards on that day. It's just something that you need to be cognizant about, not only during this week, but this particular reading is going to be about a synopsis when it comes to the beginning of this new cycle that a lot of us are about to be embarking into in the coming months. So the first overall card we got, as you can see, it's a 8 card and it's reverse. So this is talking about a inner cycle that we've been going on. This is a spiritual cycle that a lot of us have been going through. And since it's an inner cycle, a lot of us, we may feel unclear about what this cycle is supposed to entail as far as what is the result of this cycle. What was this result supposed to be? But this 8 card, it talks about light. The first world of emanation comes to an end with this card. This card represents the entrance point through which creation can manifest itself into the world. It encompasses potential and purity without limitations of shape, capable of illuminating and feeding anything it comes into contact with, like the sun, with vitality and generosity. So this card is pretty much letting you know the reason why certain cycles in your life right now are abruptly ending. Because the reason why these cycles had to happen was because there was a process, an inner process that was being done to cultivate your inner light. And it's very interesting because this even kind of goes with the natal chart for today. We got the moon in Capricorn is shining over the 5th house, and the midheaven right now is in Taurus. So a lot of the realization that we're going to be going through in our meditations and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot dealing with that process that we had to go through so we can realize the value in our creativity, so we can realize the value that our soul possesses. We had to go through some Capricornian processes. We had to go through some mountains and some valleys and all of that so that we can understand the light that we have inside. So this card, it talks about a source of pure energy feeds and lights your journey. Proceed in your projects without hesitation. Any shadow will be dispelled. Like I always say, it's when you go through that thick and thin, when you find out who your true friends are. And for a lot of us, we actually need to know these things because in our next cycle, we don't want to carry those people, places, things with us into this next cycle. So as you can see with this 20 card, this is also reversed. So this is another inner type of thing that we're doing. And this card kind of represented me in this other dimension, and I'm going into town seeking to be around some like-minded people, seeking to collaborate, and me understanding who I am and where I come from. I know how to move around in this next dimension, and this is how y'all are going to have to be as well, because in this time you can make some rookie mistakes. You can make some rookie mistakes right now just because you allowed the wrong people into this new cycle. It's easy to make those type of mistakes right now. So you have to know who you are. So this talks about no true evolution or progress is possible if we consider ourselves to be isolated from the world. This card encourages us to do any spiritual or subsequent material work in a state of solidarity and trust towards others, the primordial concept expressed by the love card. So this talks about approach your work and your actions in a state of socialness and solidarity, perhaps starting collaboration situations with those you trust. And this is on the inner level. So again, a lot of us right now are going through different things to where in order for us to fully make it to this next cycle, we're going to need each other. We're going to need each other. We're going to need our soul families. We're going to need each other in order to help us into this next cycle, because we have to believe in each other, because this government doesn't believe in us and has proven throughout all of this time that they're not going to believe in you. And even if they do help you, it's going to be some type of ulterior motives or some type of backhanded trouble that you're going to end up getting into with them. But it's like at the end of the day, we're not even supposed to be reaching out to them. We're supposed to be able to reach out to each other, to help each other to get our dreams off the ground and things like that. And we've seen countless times with countless people who've been able to do it. You don't even need a whole lot of people. If you had 1,000 or maybe 2,000 people, and those 2,000 people all donated like $10, or they all donated $20. Think about what a person who's used to creating beautiful things with next to nothing, what they would be able to create if they just had that level of support. And in this time right now, that support may come from some very unexpected sources. Shout out to Oni Osaru, by the way. I got to shout him out because me and him did a really, really dope live stream on his channel. So y'all go and check that out. We had a really dope build about mental alchemy on his particular channel. And when I'm thinking about that mental alchemy, and we're in this Aquarius time right now where people are trying to figure out ways to work smart and not hard. And it's like a lot of us have had different things that we've been working on but got derailed. And if we can just go back to those things and give those things light and give them shine, and then link up with some like-minded people, we'll never be in this low state ever again if we can do that. And when you look at what Monday has for us, this is the reason why, even though it may be sometime Tuesday that this may come out, but this is the reason why I had to keep pushing forward and giving this message. Because when you see that Two of Fire, it talks about doors closing on an outer level because certain doors are opening on an inner level. And unless you're tapped in on a spiritual level to your feelings and your emotions, different things like that, it's going to be hard for you to understand this. But you gotta take into account the Sagittarius symbol, so this is a situation that everybody's going through. Everybody's going through a transitionary, transformative period right now. And then with that Jupiter, it's reversed, meaning that in order for some things to expand on one level, things have to deflate on another level. So for those who have that Sagittarius placement, that Jupiter placement, and that second house placement in your chart, paying attention to those, you may go through some uncertainty when it comes to how you're supposed to move right now. But when you look at this Babaluaye card above it, this particular card, it talks about your spirit team. It talks about your soul family that's doing things for you behind the scenes, and they're hidden away from sight. They're hidden away from your particular perception. Babaluaye also reminds you that these things that you're going through at this particular time isn't something that you haven't faced already, meaning that you already know the remedy, the shortcut, the roadmap of how to get out of this particular situation because of the wisdom that you obtained from those situations that you went through in the past. And then Babaluaye is upright. So it's like he's giving you this reassurance in yourself that you got to go within so that you can understand what's happening. Just like the dream that I had where that red line going from one planet to the next, I thought it meant some type of abduction or something like that. But then I ended up getting a confirmation that that was nothing but my consciousness, my soul, my light going from one dimension of thought, of perception or whatever, to a higher dimension. And what's going to confirm that for you all is the 9 of water. All of these 9 cards coming, Sagittarius being over the 9th house, and then the 9 of water. This is talking about we're right at the brink of emotional peace. This talks about we have almost reached the top, which does not mean the summit. So let us not misspend what the sea has offered us. Let us try to use it for good and eat only what we need. So during this time, it's talking about being careful who you decide to associate with, and being careful who you decide to share your dreams with, share your goals with, because You don't know what unresolved symbolic blocks that they still have inside of them that's going to cloudy up their vision of seeing you be able to be successful. And they may unintentionally throw salt in your game. So when you see the baby Eshu, which is the Eshu reversed up top, and then you see the air element, and then you see the ace of air, this is talking about the result of packing light, because when you're not full of yourself, it's easier for you to rise to the top. Monday, this kind of talks about all of the mental things that I had to tell myself, different things that I had to try to, encourage myself, speak over myself to keep me mentally sane. And with that ace of air, these are some things that that you should be telling yourself during this time, that you have a duty and a responsibility to carry a message of peace, the result of which will be successful. Reappraising your efforts and encompassing everything. Nothing should be left to chance, because nothing is accidental. It is the victory of love over human mediocrity, a triumph of the spirit, high artistic value, inspiration, and I'm hoping that whoever watches this, I will be an inspiration to them, shout out to the people who I don't even know that I inspired, that's how I got this opportunity with Oniosaru, a goddess that I don't even know, reached out to him and was talking about how I inspired, and he was like, yo, I gotta reach out to this brother, so that's why I said, we don't really know to what extent that our work is helping people. We just have to keep doing it, and one day those results are going to reveal themselves, and it always happens at just the right time, don't it? All right, so this is what Tuesday has for us, and when we pay attention to Tuesday, this is about showing mercy and showing grace. Now, I got court tomorrow, so I'm trying to get some mercy and some grace, but we know that this 9-year is a year of universal judgment and universal condemnation and different things like that. It's also that year of resurrection, the year of transformation, the phoenix rising out of the ashes, and it's also a year that's going to be comprised of a lot of clout chasing, a lot of clout chasers and stuff like that. But for the soul family, this is going to be a realization that everything that we had to go through in that last cycle was permitted, because there was something in particular that we were supposed to gain from it. So this is what a lot of us are going to be realizing right now. And because of this, now we're going to be able to start to understand this new cycle that we're in and how we need to move in that cycle. Because when you start from the bottom, you got the Babylao Orisha, which is the 3 of fire. And that talks about, a lot of us, we had to do a lot of things that our soul wasn't necessarily wanting to do, but we had to do it in order to get the bag. And this right here has been the source of a lot of our shadow work that we've had to do. And then when you look at the 2 of air, and then you got the 3 of water, that's you trying to navigate these toxic waters, trying to find like-minded people. But then, as you can see with that 3 of water reverse, it ends up being a toxic emotional cycle. It's a toxic emotional cycle that we end up getting into. And it all started with either some of us were doing dark magic on ourselves, either intentionally or unintentionally. That's what the Babylao Orisha reverse could represent. Or, this could represent just the world, the dark magic that this world has had us under. And, because of the way we've been taught and the way we've been, fashioned how to use our own energy, we're unintentionally, unknowingly, but we're using our own energy against us so that we can, obtain their version of unofficial, artificial currency. And then now that you have this abundance of artificial currency, you're linking up with these presumably like-minded people, which is a 2 of air. But then you realize that, aside from their money, a lot of these people ain't shit. So that's how you end up with the 3 of water. You're still confused. Emotionally, you feel imprisoned because, you're around people that are shallow. You're around people that are shallow, and you're a deep person, but the waters that you're around are shallow waters, But when you look at the 9 of earth and when you look at the 6 of earth, you see how everything had to happen for a reason. Everything had to happen for a reason. And with the 9 of earth, this shows you that this cycle was always something temporary. You were always supposed to leave. You were always supposed to embark on the journey that you was always meant to be. It was just that, as you can see what she's doing in this particular picture, there was some seeds that you had to leave behind. There was some game that you had to pick up so you can drop it along the way. It was this one thing, and y'all know what it is in the chat, and y'all had to receive this, but you had to go through the bottom. You had to start from the bottom in order to be able to be in the right vibration to receive it, which is the 6 of earth. You have won because you have received from the powerful one that offers support and equality. And when I look at this gift that I received, it's something that I still have to pay on, but it's a gift that I received nonetheless. This ends a toxic cycle, a toxic cycle that I was in, to where I had to do these draining things so I can make money. And then 2 of air, I'm trying to link up with people that got vehicles and buy here, pay here lots, and then it leads to the 3 of water, emotional distraught, emotional confusion, all of those type of things that leads to a negative toxic cycle. But then you receive something from a powerful one that offers support, and equality. And now you're able to be the 9 of earth. Now you're able to finally leave and be someone that's going to be beneficial. You're dropping game, you're leaving, but then you're dropping game, you're dropping jewels, you're packing light, so that 9 of earth and that baby Eshu, that goes hand in hand. Now, when we look at what Wednesday has for us, this talks about you realizing during this whole time that you underestimated your power. You underestimated who you are because of your mindset, because of your mind state. And if you would have went into this cycle without going through what you went through in the last cycle, it would have put you in an even worse spot than you're in now, because right now you're not even in a worse spot for it. It just seems like that. And in this particular spread, it seems like you're in a bad spot because of your perception that everybody else have implanted in you to look at your situation. It's almost like that one situation that makes you realize that you're a superhero. It's like you've been using all of this time, because you are the god, you are the goddess. So it's like you're using your powers to prolong this event that needs to happen, but you're prolonging this event from happening. And the longer you're doing this, it's like, you're never going to be able to reach the potential that you set for yourself, because before you came here, you set up a certain, type of rites of passage that you have to go through so you can realize who you are. And when you think about every superhero movie, they always have that one defining moment. I remember when it came to the animated Spider-Man movies that just came out, when he took that leap of faith, that was his defining moment. I remember in the I think it was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, where he had to use his webs to stop this train, from going off the tracks or whatever. And it was in that moment that he realized something about his strength that was different from everybody else. When I look at Wednesday, this kind of talks about in that dream, my realization of why I kind of knew at that time how different I was from everybody else in this dimension, because all of that hardship, which is the 5 of water, all of that hardship that I was going through in that rigged game, which was where I just came from, because in this dimension that I'm in now, the game isn't rigged. You just gotta have mind over matter. I'm Ogun in this dimension, because at least the game is fair. The game is fair. It's just that the directions that you got wasn't fair. You got the wrong directions, but the game is fair this time. So for us who was really doing the work and it just seemed like things just wouldn't work out, it was because you was in the rigged dimension. Once you come over here to this side, you're gonna automatically be the deity that you've always said that you were. It was just that, you just couldn't show it at the time, and then the 3 of air, it explains why. The scarcity mindset, the scarcity mindset that we've all had during this time. The only difference between that 5 of water, which is someone that's using that branch to hang on to hang on for dear life, so he can get to the surface, versus Ogun, who understands that everything can be used as a weapon. Everything can be used as a tool. Nature isn't going to put more on you than you can bear. You have to be able to command nature. Nature isn't supposed to command you. But if you never went through those situations, then how would you ever know that? So a lot of people around here, as you can see with these with the 2 cards above that, they have this false outlook on karma. They have a uncomfortable feeling. They have an uncomfortability with karma because the way that they were taught about karma. They don't understand that a huge part of evolution is clearing karmic cycles. That's a huge part in our evolution. So you got a lot of people out here, they're going through these cycles, and these cycles are supposed to get you to a point where you can realize who you are. But because of the scarcity mindset, and you don't understand that's what's going on, you have this false sense of you're going through a negative karma cycle. You're going through negative karma. But no, that's far from the truth. You've been lied to. You've been lied to. And again, this is what a lot of us are going to be realizing in this next cycle. That a lot of the things that we wanted to manifest, a lot of things that we were told that was impossible, it was always possible. We always could have done it. It was just that we were lied to. So if this is you out here, you got to understand that if you live your life according to truth and justice, you will be rewarded with good karma. This is a wise teaching where time is of the essence. Let us not lose it. This is talking about freedom of the spirit. You have a freedom of the spirit once you realize who you are. There's a freedom of spirit because now you know how to move. When you were that 5 of water, you always would have got taken advantage of, because you feel like you only got one branch to lean on. When you realize that you're Ogun, now you're no longer controlled by nature because you understand that, if I just got that one branch, if I just got this to lean on, I'm straight, because there's a lot of different creative things that I can turn this branch into that's going to aid me with my survival, and I'll be out here thriving while everybody else is out here going through it, and mind over matter is a huge is a huge principle that Ogun teaches, but he has to go through the 5 of water, the uncertainty. He has to go through those times where he doesn't know where his next help is going to come from. He has to go through those times, those Pluto times. That deep transformation is the result after that, in order for him to truly understand who he is, and then he'll never have that scarcity mindset again. And this is what we're going through, you under the sound of my voice, so let us use the intelligence and free will our Lord has given us and help our fellow human beings, respecting and loving them above all. So that's Wednesday. And when we see what Thursday has for us, I'm already kind of seeing this now. I'm already seeing certain things that I need to let go of because it just wasn't necessarily time for certain things, but they are now. So with that being said, with Thursday, this is talking about the losing of faith, which is the man card. But the losing of faith, it comes from a freeing of the soul, or a freeing of the mind, and this uncertainty is because you've been incarcerated mentally for so long that you pretty much believed that cage was everything. You always saw the outside world, but in that cage, you probably never thought that you would ever be able to be in that outside world, to be able to be free. And the sun card above it, that talks about the new hope. It talks about the new hope that we always knew was there. It was just a barrier at first that kept us from it. But now that barrier isn't there anymore. You just gotta uncloud your mind. You just gotta clear your mind, and you'll see that the dimension that we were in, that was rigged, that was the world that was crumbling. That was the world that has crumbled. And now this is a whole new dimension. This is a whole new dimension, even though things may look kind of similar. There's a lot of differences. I remember, just for example, I remember there was a certain style of DJ that I would, and this is how I started doing my mashups, and this is how I started, doing certain DJ maneuvers, because of how I would transition different verses to certain instrumentals and stuff like that. But it wasn't something that everybody was doing, because at that time it took for you to have the instrumental on hand in order for you to make these transitions work. But it's like now, they got this thing on these DJ programs called stem separation. So all of that, you can just do it on the fly. So now you got everybody and their mama coming out with those same transition type videos that I was making back in 2017. And I felt like, I would never be able to, I felt like that style would never, grow legs and stuff like that. But I'm seeing now I'm in a different musical landscape, to the point where my mixes and my mashups and stuff like that can really blow up. And I got a bunch of mashups. So now I'm going to have to recreate erase some of them and even make some new ones. And something that I was just doing for fun can actually be something that a lot of these newer upcoming DJs are paying these older DJs to teach them how to do stuff like that. So that's why I said, a lot of you all, it may seem like things are crashing down and stuff like that, but all it is that cage, that mental cage rattling and shaking to the point where the door can swing open so you can fly out and you can really experience that world that you've always seen, but you just felt like it was never attainable, so that's what some of us are going through right now. So as we go into what Friday has for us, this is another realization. This is another realization that some of us are going through right now. With this 4 of Earth, this talks about a certain career. Some of us have been manipulated. Some of us have been lied to when it comes to our career, what we're supposed to be doing to maintain these riches and what we're supposed to do when it comes to our career. And, this is something that a lot of us were manipulated from childhood. I remember my mom, she was telling me about how she always wanted to be a chef. She always wanted to be a cook. She always wanted to be a singer. But her mom put her on this particular path of nursing that she didn't even want to be on, and she ended up getting her nursing degree. But I've never seen my mom work in a hospital before, because that wasn't what she wanted to do. So she ended up going and being a cook, but it was on a lower level, because at this time she didn't have kids and all of that. So a lot of those big jobs that would have ended up really advancing her career, she didn't want to leave me and my little brother to the wayside, so she would refuse a lot of those. When it comes to us in our particular journey, it's almost like certain cycles had to end to show you that this hell that you created for yourself because of a combination of you seeing other people go through certain things because of how they gave up, or you seeing what the government or what the media has put in front of you as a gauge when it comes to your progress or your success or your failure. Some of you all have created this hell, which is this 10 of air. A lot of you all have created this hell for yourself, and it has a lot to do with your career, because you feel like if you, even though this job is draining you, even though this career, even though this whatever this 4 of Earth, this is something that you're working so you can make money. This is a tedious process that you're doing to make money, and whatever it is not something that you want to do. It's not something that you want to do. It's something that you were told that you had to do, or this 10 of air was going to be upright. It was going to be a bad omen and do it. So some of us, certain cycles, like with me with the rental cars, certain cycles had to end just to show you that it's not all over. It's just certain cycles. You had to lose certain things with that career to show you that you're still going to be straight after this, because in your mind, you just thought it was all over. You thought it was going to be all over and you still here. You still alive and kicking. You're still here, So that's a realization, And then what you realize with this Oshumare reversed and this enslaved prisoner, when I see Oshumare reversed, that talks about this matrix. It talks about the matrix. And then enslaved prisoner, that's talking about the matrix. The matrix got you in this enslaved prisoner mentality. It's an enslaved prisoner. He's not actually in jail. This is a mental prison that he's under, and the chains are really not chains. The chains represent these evil snakes that's trying to hold him down to this post, And because of this enslaved prisoner's mentality, because of the mindset that he has, he doesn't understand that these snakes that are around him, he doesn't understand that these are garden snakes that don't have venom. Like he don't understand that the snakes that he see around him, that he see that's gluing him to this particular post, these snakes are actually harmless. They're not going to kill you. They just look menacing, And it was the lore around these snakes, and it was just the illusion around these snakes that made it seem like these snakes were more evil than what they are. So for some of y'all, because of a career that didn't work out, and you realized that things aren't so bad, that this didn't work out, but the system and everybody else that's believing in this system, when they look at you, they see that you are the victim of defamation, gossip, and felonies around you. Strengthen yourself. You will need it, because your surroundings are exerting pressure on you. You will be subject to unjustified moral, physical, or spiritual punishment, loneliness, execution, suffering. Everything is hard to attain. This is everything that this evil matrix, that this evil system system that's rigged wants you to believe every time you take time off and spend that on yourself, every time you take time off and spend that on your soul, every time you take time off so that you can get yourself together. You see how this system is always trying to go against you because they want to keep you engaged in the system to try to prolong it, even though as we see, it's burning to the ground. So now we are on the weekend, baby. So let's see what Saturday has for us. So when we see what Saturday has for us, we see the salamander that represents who you are as a person. It talks about a culmination of what you turned into because of what you went through. You turned into someone who has a lot more experience in life, someone who fights for ideals, someone who's a militant thinker, someone who has the characteristics of being a ruler, someone who is realistic and rational. But it seems like the type of communication that's around you is about worries, suffering, pressures, underlying danger. This is the 9 of air. This is the last part of that cycle that is showing you that the time is up. And sometimes the hardest part is when you got to leave the people that you feel like that you love behind. See, these are the other realizations, these are realizations that a lot of us don't like to talk about, but for most of us over here on this side, this is talking about a realization that we wasn't crazy. This was like a realization that we wasn't crazy. Like, we were the ones that had it right all along. And the reason why that we were outcasted, which was at the top, and it's a happy outcast. Because when you look at that guardian angel reversed, that's talking about disharmony and all of those type of negative thoughts and negative feeling and stuff like that. And this is you understanding that none of this shit matters. None of this shit is real. None of it amounts to anything for real. So you're willing to just let it go. This is someone having a unmovable, unshakable attitude in spite of all of the pressures and all of the worries that's surrounding it. But it all goes back to knowing who you are in the first place, which is that salamander card. You being able to adapt while you're traveling. You being able to understand that this situation, it was always temporary, and that you always knew how things were going to go. You've already prepared on a spiritual level. You're already there on a spiritual level. It's just you being steadfast, because this cycle on this side is still ending. It's still on that ending phase. So we're still going through some uncertainty and stuff like that, because things are still kind of cloudy. Things are still cloudy. But then when we see what Sunday has for it, that's when everything starts to settle. Everything kind of starts to make sense a little bit, with that 8 of water reversed. This is you finally coming to the end of your realization of the way things ended, how you need to move forward into the future, what needs to stay out of your life for the future, what you need to add into your life. With this, with the couple reversed, a lot of breakups, different losses, different things like that. But then with the 4 of water reversed, this is talking about a possibility of new relations. This talks about what was once asleep or dead has now risen. So this is talking about new opportunities to connect, new opportunities to be able to link up with people and start something new. And at the end of the day, you look at these last 2 cards at the top, the 4 of fire, that talks about your soul family. Your soul family is always what's going to your soul family is what's always going to keep reminding you of your inner value. Because when that ace of earth is reversed, it's talking about you taking all of those valuable energies that you will give to everybody else to help them out, and you taking that inward. And it's going to look like selfishness. It's going to look like cynicism. It's going to look like totalitarianism, obstinacy, lack of collaboration. But again, with this 4 of fire, your soul family is the only ones that you can collaborate with, that's going to be able to see your light that you've been emanating, the light that you've been working on yourself, the light that you've been perfecting. And your soul family, because they've been working on themselves, they're going to be able to see that light. And when you're able to collaborate with them, y'all are going to be able to make some monumental thing. Just us reconnecting with our higher selves, like on Wednesday with that 5 of water and the Ogun. That 5 of water has to understand that he's Ogun, no matter the scarcity mindset, so that he can understand that karmically he's going to make it. He's going to make it out of this situation. And if we can heed that message this week, my friend, feelings, you will be glad that you did. I appreciate everyone who stayed and watched this to the end. I know this one was kind of lengthy because I had to add a shadow work ain't pretty segment into this, because I just had to let y'all know that a lot of things I know I talk about is unorthodox, and people may not believe that that it works or that it's true. So we have to be the one to be the example, to show that we're divine in our own way. So I appreciate y'all, all of y'all who watched this to the end, who's always supported, always donated to me and stuff like that. www.bandclaptv.com in order for you to check out my animated series and also the services that I provide. And until next time, peace. What's up, y'all? I hope y'all enjoyed that video, and if you stayed to the end, I appreciate you. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, I want to redirect you to my Instagram page. I don't promote my Instagram page a lot, but as my subscriber count and things like that rise due to things like shadow banning and stuff like that, I'm hearing that a lot of people aren't getting my notifications when I go live on YouTube and stuff like that. So for all things BandClap TV, my Instagram page and my story are going to have all of the notifications and things like that when it comes to when I'm going live, when I'm going, when I'm releasing videos, when I'm releasing content. Also on my Instagram page, if you're curious about my reviews for my readings and stuff like that, as you can see on my Instagram, I have a lot of different testimonials and stuff like that. For those who don't know of me as an artist, I also have videos of me performing and stuff like that. I'll be putting out more stuff like that very, very soon. So I'm just trying to get as many people right now to go ahead and follow me on Instagram. That is BandClap TV, and also my Facebook and Snapchat, BandClap TV as well. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all, and like I always say, no matter what, you got to stay shining.